You look like an avatar.
They're called Na'vi, actually. Where Nakti
I think we should.
Peacock's 2025 sitcom The Paper brings the mockumentary style of The Office to a struggling Midwestern newsroom, where Ned Sampson is suddenly tasked with reviving the fading Toledo truth teller. Created by Greg Daniels and Michael Kamen, the show leans on awkward humor and character clashes, but underneath is the reality of journalism on life support. Instead of nostalgia for a workplace, it's a comedy about what happens when the workplace itself has almost no reason to exist. So the question becomes, is The Paper just another riff on The Office, or is it trying to say something about why local news disappeared in the first place? At its core, The Paper is a workplace mockumentary about survival. The Toledo Truth Teller, once a proud local paper, now scrapes by with a skeleton staff, volunteer reporters, and a corporate parent more interested in clickbait than journalism. Into this mess walks Ned Sampson, a former paper product salesman, promoted to editor-in-chief despite having little editorial experience. Alongside him is Esmeralda Grand, the fiery managing editor who thrives on chaos, and Mayor Preety, a battle-worn reporter who still believes in the craft. The series frames their clashes, mistakes, and fleeting triumphs through the lens of the same unseen documentary crew from The Office, positioning the truth teller story as both absurd comedy and a reflection of journalism's decline. The idea for The Paper began with Greg Daniels, who had long resisted revisiting The Office after its 2013 finale. But the show's runaway streaming success on Netflix and Peacock in the early 2020s reignited demand for a mockumentary revival. Instead of a reboot, Daniels joined forces with Michael Kamen from Nathan For You in 2023 to pitch something adjacent but distinct, a story about a dying newsroom trying to reinvent itself. Peacock ordered the series in May 2024, with production beginning that summer in Los Angeles. Daniels emphasized The Paper wasn't designed as The Office 2.0, but as a standalone exploration of underdog resilience, drawing inspiration from Parks and Recreation's optimism and the bittersweet reality of America's shrinking local press. Filming took place from July to October 2024 on Universal Studios sound stages, with sets built to mimic the cluttered interiors of a Midwestern newsroom. Although the series is set in Toledo, Ohio, no on-location shooting was done. Instead, directors leaned into handheld camera work, shaky zooms, and washed-out lighting to give the show a tactile, lived-in feel. Daniels reunited with several Office veterans behind the camera, while also bringing in newer comedy directors to keep the style updated for streaming audiences. The result is a visual tone that feels familiar yet slightly more self-aware, punctuated by documentary-style interjections like text cards and fact-check captions. Behind the scenes, Daniel and Kamen kept the atmosphere collaborative, with actors encouraged to improvise around scripted beats to build chemistry. The cast underwent workshops with working journalists to better understand newsroom dynamics, and the writing staff, which included comedian Alex Edelman and The Bear's Eric Rahil, leaned on personal experience to keep dialogue sharp and authentic. The show's theme, Song from the Ninth Floor, was composed by the Scrantones as a tongue-in-cheek echo of The Office's iconic opener. While the title sequence uses a montage of newsrooms being recycled, shredded, or used as a birdcage lining, a visual joke about the medium's fragility. Daniels has described casting as 80% of the show's success, and the lineup reflects a balance of fresh energy and recognizable talent. Domhnall Gleeson leads as Ned Sampson, embodying both awkward charm and reluctant determination. Sabrini Impacciatore plays Esmeralda Grand with the same unfiltered bite that made her a standout in The White Lotus, and Chelsea Frey brings grounded pathos as Mayor, a disillusioned but dedicated reporter. Supporting players like Melvin Gregg, Ramona Young, and Bimisola Akumalo flesh out the newsroom's chaotic ecosystem, while veteran actor Duane Shepard Sr. gives the show its emotional anchor as Barry, an aging journalist watching his profession fade away. The one direct tie to The Office is Oscar Nunez, reprising his role as Oscar Martinez, no longer an accountant at Dunder Mifflin, but improbably resigned as an arts reporter under the Truth Teller's new ownership. Nunez's return serves as a connective tissue for longtime fans, though Daniels deliberately avoided broader cameos to preserve the original's ending. The result is a cast that feels both distinct and familiar, rooted in the mockumentary tradition, but given enough space to develop its own rhythm. Critics and audiences have largely responded positively to The Paper, praising its cast chemistry, sharp rising, and timely satire of journalism's decline, with Rotten Tomatoes rating it 85%. For most people, it struck that perfect balance between nods to The Office and having its own distinct identity. From my perspective, the series does start off a bit sluggish, but by the latter episodes it really hits its stride. The writing between Ned and Mare is especially strong, and the humor spreads effectively across the rest of the cast and scenarios. A couple of characters still don't grab me, but overall it's arguably doing better than The Office's early episodes, moving at a faster, more confident pace thanks to the writer's experience. As the show went on towards the back half, it definitely got better. For the rest of the video, there will be spoilers, so if you haven't seen it, go watch it and come back. Season 1 of the paper opens with Ned Sampson stepping into the chaos of the Toledo Truth Teller, a struggling local newspaper caught between declining print sales and the looming presence of corporate owner Innervate. From the first episode, the tension isn't just about producing stories, it's about balancing idealistic journalism with the very real pressure of budgets, volunteers, and office personalities. The pilot lingers on Ned's awkward introductions, Esmeralda's diva theatrics, and the newsroom's micro-chaos, using these moments not just for laughs, but to establish a world where every spill, mistaken call, or volunteer mishap reflects the fragile ecosystem of a modern newsroom. Early episodes like Volunteers showed this tension building, blending personal ambition, ethical dilemmas, and corporate interference, often turning mundane beats door-to-door subscription drives, misplaced interviews, into sequences that feel both absurd and telling about the struggles of small-town journalism. As the season progresses, the show finds its rhythm by leaning into character interactions as much as newsroom antics. Field investigations, City Hall embeds, and chaotic blackout nights create space for Ned and Mare's chemistry to develop organically, while side plots, Detra and Nicole's fumbling romance, Oscar and Adnam's understated mentorship, and Esmeralda's scheming bring both humor and stakes to the ensemble. Scenes that could feel rote, ethical debates, volunteer mishaps, or rival reporter clashes are elevated through timing, awkward physical comedy, and small touches like confessional commentary, highlighting the staff's humanity amid professional turbulence. These sequences deepen the satire without undercutting the heart, the absurdities of chasing scoops, navigating corporate meddling, or juggling personal ambitions never feel hollow, because they're anchored in the characters' vulnerabilities and passions. The finale crystallizes the season's themes, bringing the newsroom together during the Ohio Journalism Awards in a high-stakes, chaotic yet heartfelt episode. The long day's events thread together romance, ambition, and professional triumph, while still maintaining the mockumentary's signature awkward, energy confessional reactions, spilled drinks, and last-minute mishaps all contributing to the tension. It's both a payoff and a reminder that the challenges of journalism, personal growth, and office dynamics are ongoing. The paper survives, but the work and the relationships remain messy, unpredictable, and deeply human. By blending humor, a clear voice, one that is self-aware, socially resonant, and is committed to exploring the stakes of reporting without losing sight of the comedy in chaos. Honestly, by the end of season 1, I'm left pretty impressed. The show starts a bit slow, there's no denying the first few episodes can feel like they're just finding their footing, but it quickly gains momentum, especially once Ned and Mare's dynamic kicks in. Their exchanges are genuinely sharp, blending awkwardness, humor, and a surprisingly sweet thread of chemistry that carries into the wider ensemble. The writing spreads that energy across the newsroom too, letting side characters shine in smaller but memorable ways, though I will admit a couple of them still haven't fully clicked for me yet. Compared to early episodes of The Office, it feels more confident out of the gate, probably because the writers know what works and don't linger too long on unnecessary beats. Overall, it's funny, surprisingly heartfelt, and grounded enough in the realities of journalism to make the stakes feel real, even when chaos erupts. And I'm genuinely curious to see where Season 2 takes all of these threads. With all that being said, I'm curious what you guys have to say. What did you think of the paper? Who is your favorite character so far? Be sure to let us know in the comments down below. Thanks for making it until the end of the video. If you enjoyed, leave a like and subscribe to the channel. Here at Inner Spiral, we cover the games, shows, and movies we all love, so be sure to join us, and I'll see you next time in the Spiral.